Hello everybody, Floppy Hat Photos back here again with our random rant. And today's random rant is for basically people trying to start up a little business, spin out. We have farmers markets down here in Florida quite often, and they run pretty much all year round. Like they might shut down around Christmas. We had a big shutdown because of the whole, virus and whatnot. But normally they're down here, every week. Some of them are every 2 weeks, some every month, whatever. But because our weather's so great, we don't shut down for the winter like you do up north quite often on them. But there are quite a few little spin-offs. And usually what happens is somebody gets mad at somebody at one of them. They decide to go open up their own, and then they start competing against it and whatnot. And then you have that risk of, you're used to going there on a Wednesday, whatever, let's say, the farmers market, so you were getting mad at those people, so that's your day to go. So you start one, well, that one's huge though, so it's hard to compete against them. So you pick a different day, and then luckily, hopefully at some point we have little farmers markets going all over the place, and it doesn't have to be one gigantic, humongous thing that takes you 3.5 hours just to walk past everything, not even shopping, just walking the whole perimeter or whatever. We don't need that. So works out real well. There's also the problem I have with it is when people allow you to, they come set up, and like, let's say normally it's going to be from say 6 to say 2 o'clock, 6 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. People are showing up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock because they won't let them reserve spots. And this is an actual one of the spots here that I've been to, and I actually set up and tried to sell some of my wares at. But people get there at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, which means they left their house at 1 a.m. or whatever the hell it was, maybe 2 a.m. to get there, because they don't let them reserve their spots. And the only way to get your spot is to be the first one in it, kind of thing, which is dumb, because by the time the sun gets up, they're already wore out. And then by 6 o'clock rolls around when it's supposed to start up, whatever, and then they're like, oh my god, I've already been here at this point for 3 hours, or who the hell knows what kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, but then by noon everybody's packed up and left. Well, the thing's supposed to go till 2. Like, what the hell? And then the problem with it is when you let people leave early, people come back in, the shoppers who come in, it's like, hey, it's going till 2. I don't get off to work till noon. I'll run over there and stuff. I'd be there by 12:30, or by 12:30. I have an hour and a half to shop, and they show up, and 3/4 of the vendors are gone, and the ones that are there have already put away half their stuff. So now there's nothing left to look at, kind of thing. So it is what it is there. It kind of sucks in the process. This one here on Wednesday I stop into, and I often will stop on the way back from filling my vending machines, which depending on what time of day it is and how long it took me to fill the routes, I'll stop there and grab my wife a couple orchids, whatever. And there's now 2 orchid ladies side by side almost, and it's funny because the one lady I enjoyed immensely, super sweet, prices were good, quality was high, everything was great, to the point that often I would actually pay her more than what the orchids cost, especially during the whole virus thing, when they did finally open back up, and I'd literally just walk straight there. I wasn't around anybody else's stuff, the whole 9 yards. And I would, I was giving her sometimes, like one of my, I gave her like twice what she was asking for her orchids. So she's like, your bills, whatever, da. And I was like, here you go, I'm gonna keep the change. Like, this is, thank you for what you're doing, stuff. And then it's something changed, and now she's packing up early. She was never the one who packed up early before. She was always there, no matter how late I got there. She was always she was one of the last ones. Well, lately I've been going, and now she's packing her shit up early. There's a lady next to her who I've been dealing with more, because the lady I used to enjoy immensely has stopped marking her prices of her orchids. Like, so you can't just walk up and see like, oh look, that was $20, that one's $40, that one's $5, whatever. She doesn't have anything marked, so now it's just like the price changes. And I don't know if she sees me as like a mark now, because I'd overpaid her before and I tipped her out, or what, but her prices are like all at like this abnormal high price now. And I'm like, well, that's not cool, just because one time I was doing you a favor, and I've always thought you've been, reasonably priced in your stuff, and sometimes a little cheap. I tipped you out, because I could, and now I'm stuck paying that price the rest of my life, because I once proved I was willing to do it. And I was like, no, screw that crap. Also, I've gotten there before noon. Like, before noon I've gotten to this place, which is not common for me at all. And she's already got her orchids and all her plants all tied up and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm trying to buy some orchids. She goes, oh, I got it. I'm like, why close up early? Like, what the hell? Because what happens is, one vendor closed up early, so the next one closed up early, next one closed up early. Well, stop letting them get their name early set up. First off, that's the big thing. Let them reserve their spot. Let them prepay for next week, whatever. That's not a big deal. Let go from there. 2, from there, charge them a fine for leaving early. And it could be something as simple as, hey, I don't know what their rates are charged. Let's say it's $10, so, blah, blah. Let's say it's $100, whatever it is. Charge double. Literally straight up charge double for your spot. But if you are still here, say 1 o'clock, and your booth looks full, You haven't started tearing down or nothing yet. 1 o'clock, we're going to have people who run this flea market around that's going to roll by and give you a half off your next week's booth if you're willing to pay right now. You can pay right now, and because you're still set up and running at 1 o'clock, because we don't close down until 2, and even, hell, make it 1:30. So basically up until 2 o'clock, if you're still up and running, I will give you half off your damn spot. And then for next week, because I can do it. I charge double because I just raise my rate to double, because that way it gives me the opportunity to drop down to half price and still make the same profit I was. And then there's a handful that will leave early, and next week they want to come back, they got to pay double. That's all there is to it. You're going to be punished for leaving early. Straight up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to be punished for leaving early, because if not, everybody's going to leave early, nobody's going to show up. And then like myself, who is working on a Wednesday, it comes back, is able to get off at like noon, whatever, try and swing by, get there by 1 o'clock. There's nobody there to buy anything from, which says, hey, screw it, I won't go back. Which if I don't go back, there's an extra, say $100 they don't get, which means nobody wants to come and sell nothing, say nobody's here to buy nothing. So it becomes a vicious circle back and forth. And there's a new one that's starting up over here, kind of middle of nowhere, on a Saturday from 7:30 to, I think it's 12:30. I don't know. No, it's 9 to 2:30. What was it? 9 to 2:30. What side said. So I was like, okay, no big deal, blah, blah, whatever. So I stopped in there to it, and it's just basically, it's like I don't know if it's a working farm or not. I think it's a working farm, and they just kind of cleared off part of their yard, opened up one of their pastures, whatever, and they're now trying to do some flea market, farmer's market type stuff. And we had a lot of rain last night. I will give them that. So the wetness part, I can understand. They haven't been doing it. They've been doing it, I think, less than a year. I don't remember how long it's been exactly, but it's been a while. This isn't like their second week. Like, this has been going on for months now. And part of the thing is, it's real small. Hardly anybody's showing up to it, because we have quite a few other markets that are, that are doing on Saturdays. So it is, and there's a lot more clientele showing to it. But their parking is horrendous. They don't have good signs saying one way. People are getting backed up in there. There was 11 vendors, I think. 11 vendors, including a food truck, whatever. And nobody was really seeing me doing much. But the problem I really want to complain with these guys is, one, you need to get the drainage better, because that's going to suck. You got to do something. I don't know if you just got to bring in, sand and have it spread out, and just every month or two, whatever, just bring in another truckload of sand and eventually raise this up and let it kind of come up, let grass grow through it, so you can get this dry. If you're going to do this long term, you got to get this dry, because if you don't get a good drainage on this, you're going to be screwed. The other thing is the parking. You have to monitor that a little better. There was somebody pulled in and basically stuck their gigantic, there's having to be parked towards the house, which is fine. There's one big ass tree there on the whole row where he's parking. We're angle parking in, so it's hard to back out and try the other way. So they're trying to encourage people to make it one way, but they're not fully doing it. But someone's driving this long ass extended, super long ass SUV that parks the one spot that has a tree, so you can't pull up further into the yard. They're sticking out halfway in the road of the driveway part. They're literally blocking half of the driveway, which everybody has to drive around to their side, and they're getting down to the ditch, and it's tearing the yard up, and then you come around the back of the house, you gotta leave, and it's muddy. It's literally like a mud pit. I don't know, it was deep enough in that I wouldn't have been able to take my Corvette in there, which would have sucked, which wouldn't have been a big deal. But even my Ford Focus, I'm afraid, might have drugged the air down, because it was literally that deep. I high-sided it on my truck even, and I was just like, it should not be. You guys got to bring in some sand, bring in some rock, bring in something. You got to do something a little better here, because there's a lot of guys here driving, very expensive vehicles out here that don't want to get covered in mud, and you guys are not hillbilly enough on that spot for what you're selling. You're selling high-end olive oils, you're selling, high-end stuff, high-end jewelry and whatnot. The guy is going to want to bring his old farm truck, because people who are buying this stuff don't have old farm trucks. They're driving, Volkswagens at least, there's nothing. They're driving little four bangers and stuff. They don't have that process. But the number one thing that I thought was really cool, I was like, hey, cool. Bunch of dogs running around. No big deal. All off leash. Now the clients brought their dog there, and she's on leash, and she seemed really freaked out as these dogs come running up to her, which maybe put a sign out saying, hey, we have off leash dogs. They're all friendly. If your dog is not dog friendly, we highly recommend you not bring your dog here, because our dogs are not leashed or whatever it is. But here's the problem I have. I made a half a lap, and it was not, I made a full lap, it's just make a U shape, is all it is. It's a U. As I walked around there, and I saw 5 piles of dog shit in the yard, where the thing's set up. One, okay, we can argue about the smell and all that kind of stuff, but man, when people are walking through dog shit trying to buy their fancy olive oils and their fancy, magnetic bracelets and all this dumb crap, man, you can't track that back into my, I saw $80,000 SUV sitting there next to me. They do not want to be tracking in dog shit into their $98,000 SUV or back into their house and stuff. You can't do it. You got to get that dog shit out of there. If your dog's going to be off leash, you got to have somebody out there. And I can't imagine all 5 of these came from just today. You got to walk that yard better or get somebody else that's help running the show to keep an eye on the dogs or do something, because man, that's not cool. And because your dog's on leash, usually you see it, you're going to pick it up, whatever. But when there's already 5 giant piles of dogs, and these are all big dogs, these are all Labrador-sized dogs and stuff. And no, you can't have a farmer's market like this with just dumps laying around. People are stepping in and walking through and stuff. You just can't do it. That's the number one biggest thing, man. There's so many problems you got to have in life, but you cannot have giant just piles of dog shit people are walking. It can't happen. So that's my random rant. Is if you're going to run your business, guys, run your business. Do some research. Take your time. And I understand sometimes you have to go step back at it with clean eyes and look at it, but ask some people, put a little note out there, put a little thing, if this thing's not that old, going, hey, what could we do better? Put a little, here's our email or something or whatever. Send us a, tweet us, put us up on Facebook, where the hell it is. Or just even, hey, the guy that you need to talk to is wearing a Hawaiian shirt or where the hell it is. Go talk to Bill over there wearing a Hawaiian shirt and the damn, peacock feather in his hat. That way you know where you can see him and stuff. He's the guy that you need to talk to and tell him these little mistakes. Because I'd happily consult on some people. And that's one of the things I keep thinking I need to. What's so damn lazy? I would just become a consultant across the country of helping people do their business, because it is what it is. But anyway, that's all I got for right now. I will talk to you guys sometime soon. Hopefully next time. The rants, I hope to never make them. But every once in a while, I feel like it's easier for me just to vent this way than it is to, I guess, try and dump this. I explain stuff to my wife or whatever stuff. I'm like, these people are here being stupid. She don't want to hear it. So it is what it is. I do it here on YouTube, and then if you guys don't want to hear it, you can just turn the damn thing off. And if you do want to hear it, post a comment below and tell me what pisses you off, and I'll give you my take on it as well. So thanks for watching. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day.